Well, good morning, my fishing brethren. Today we are at the lake, but we're not going to be doing any fishing, I don't think. I don't think we're going to have time. Today what we're doing is we are dropping fish habitat for the upcoming spawn. So we're in New Mexico, water temperature is about 48, 49, and getting ready to get into that time where the fish spawn in this particular reservoir. It's called Elephant Butte, and it's down here in southern New Mexico. It fluctuates a lot during the year. It's a reservoir specifically meant for irrigation, and so whatever runoff from the mountains collect here, eventually they let most of it out and it goes to irrigate crops further south. And so it's a very challenging lake to drop habitat in to try to boost up the fish population. It's a trying lake, and so the gentleman that's kind of taken this on is Earl Conway, and he's actually the gentleman who I fish with for our partners team tournament trail here in New Mexico. So him and I are pretty good friends. Out here going to help him a little bit today. Mostly I'm going to be doing some filming, and so there's another gentleman here that is kind of the president of our team trail in New Mexico. His name is Randall, and he's going to be helping a bunch too. So what I'd like to do eventually is get one or both of those guys interviewed today. I'll give you a couple of shots of what we're doing, and hopefully you enjoy kind of what we put together and enjoy seeing what we're doing. If there's anything around your neck of the woods that needs some help, any lakes, there's a ton of opportunity for this type of stuff, regardless of where you live, regardless of the kind of lake that you're on. And so be looking into your conservation directors for your state. Be looking into your specific lake. See if there's conservation efforts that are underway. You know, they could use your help. And so it takes a lot of manpower. You'll see several guys out helping today, humping sandbags into the boats, loading Christmas trees, all those types of things that we're going to be doing. It takes a lot of manpower. So get involved and look for some opportunities to do that sort of thing. It's not all about fishing all the time. Sometimes we need to build homes for these fish as well. So anyway, stay tuned. Hope you enjoy.
And my name's Earl Conway, and I'm the conservation director for New Mexico Bass Nation. And we're out here today doing one of our Christmas tree drops. We've been doing this for 4 years now, and what you don't see is about the 50 volunteers that showed up this morning to help out doing the drop. But we were successful again. Got a little windy, but it's calm now, and we probably could have kept going, but we ran out of trees. So anyway, it's been a good year, and nobody got hurt, so we're calling it a win. So let me tell you what I'm trying to do here. This is a model that I built to try to explain what's going on. Elephant Butte's a really tough lake to work with. It's an irrigation reservoir. If it wasn't for the need for irrigation, the lake wouldn't be here, so we kind of have to take what we get. But every year, about May, they open the gates for irrigation, and the lake drops anywhere from 30 to 40 feet. And unfortunately, it's about the same time that the bass are spawning. So we actually lose a lot of the spawn. The fish spawn up in the shallows, and then they have to move out really rapidly. And in the past, there just wasn't a lot of places for them to hide. So what we're trying to do is add habitat for these fish, so that when they come out of these shallow waters where the bass normally spawn, they'll spawn in 5 to 10 feet of water, but when that lake starts dropping, they have to move. So as they move, we've been putting Christmas tree piles in on ledges and things like that, but we continue to work things out all the way down to where we think the low water may be. And so today we drop things in 30-35 feet of water that'll be there even when the lake's pulled all the way down. It'll still be there for the fish. So most of what we do is Christmas trees. We've dumped, I think, 4 semi-loads of Christmas trees already in the lake. And it seems to be making a big difference. We're having pretty good, what they call recruitment, survival of the young fry, and we're getting a lot bigger fish. Plus that other species benefit, we're seeing a lot more bluegill. The walleye population is exploding in this lake. And so overall, I think we're definitely not doing any harm. I think we're doing some good. We're also using some of these artificial habitats, and we've experimented with a lot of them. Some of them are hanging from buoys, some of them are on the bottom. When they're in this position, they're intended to provide food and cover for the fish. When they're in that position where we turn them horizontally, the largemouth like something over their head to keep the birds from getting their nest. And so this provides a nice place for them to go underneath and spawn, have that security to do so. So anyway, we're doing things like that. Now, one of the things we're transitioning to this year is we're going to try to plant more natural vegetation. I've been studying the native plants around here for 3 years, trying different studies with seeds and pole planting and things like that. But these are pole cuttings from a particular tree called a Gooding willow. And what we found out with these is that this tree, once you establish these, they can be underwater for 4 or 5 months and still come back when the water recedes. And it's as far as we know, it's the only plant that can do that on this lake. So we're actually going to be putting in a lot of willows and try to get them spread out. The problem with the willow and the problem with the lake is that, again, they're pulling the water down at the time when these things are going to seed. The seed's only good for about 4 days, and it has to fall on wet soil. So a lot of times what we'll see is just a very, very skinny line of trees where it got lucky enough that the tree was in the water or near the water when it went to seed. But most of that's way up north in the lake, and these trees never really made it down to the south end of the lake. So we're just going to start establishing this year. But if we can get these to grow, there's more cover from these than we could ever do with Christmas trees and artificial habitat. So that's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on going to natural vegetation. Plus that, it's natural. These Christmas trees, they'll rot away in about 4 years and maybe 5 years, and then you either have to replace them. But I'd prefer we have the willows going by then, so we'll see how that goes. We're also going to start using junipers sometimes. They'll last for a long time. We've got juniper stumps in this lake that have been dead for 100 years, and the stumps are still there. So juniper will last a whole lot longer. So we're going to switch over to that. Anyway, so the project's been going for 4 years. We got a couple more years on the permit we can do, and then New Mexico Game and Fish wants to take over the project. They're working on their permits and everything, and some pretty substantial grant funding, much bigger than what I was able to do, although I think we put about $60,000 into the lake so far in terms of all these projects. So, and again, we've had sponsors that U.S. Fish and Wildlife provided some money through your taxpayers' dollars, but we also got money from Shimano. These things are from Mossback. AERF gave us a grant, so a lot of different people have given us money, and we're starting to see more and more local contributions too. So it's a good sign, and so I look forward to this just being a really good project well into the future, especially as Game and Fish takes it over. Thanks.
will tell you folks, it has been a long day and we've done a lot of work, and unfortunately we didn't get to fish at all, and that's okay. Sometimes when you go out you gotta give back a little bit, and it's not always about what the lake can do for you, but sometimes it's about what you can do for the lake, to quote a great lake president. So anyway, we had a great time, and hopefully you learned something. Like I said earlier, if there's something around your neck of the woods that maybe needs a little help or could perhaps use some volunteers, that sort of thing, maybe look into that. Get in touch with your conservation director of your area or your state. If you don't know who that is, you can get a hold of your BASS chapter head. So whoever heads that chapter of your area, they'll know who that is. Worst case scenario, you can call BASS, and they should be able to connect you with that person, no problem. So anyway, look into that. Had a great time, and just some wonderful volunteers. There's some cool stuff that happens with all of that habitat restoration stuff, and it's very interesting. If you get a chance and you want to see kind of what we're trying to do, now we can't do it as well because again we're faced with some different problems in this particular lake, but Lake Havasu in Arizona, over the past I think 10 years, maybe 15 years, they have done extensive testing, placement, habitat structures, all kinds of cool stuff in their lake. So if you ever want to get a really cool feel of what we're trying to do here, you can look up what they've done at Lake Havasu in Arizona. It's incredible. We fished a tournament there last year, and all of those cages and all the structure that they sank is still there, and it's crystal clear. You can see it. It was very, very impressive. But Lake Havasu fluctuates less than a foot every year, because it's basically just a dammed up river that never stops on the Colorado over there, and ours fluctuates sometimes up to 30 foot throughout the year. So it's quite a big difference. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I want to remind you that tomorrow, hopefully after church, we are going to be tackling that particular monstrosity right back there. And so if you don't remember this, or if you haven't checked it out, this is what I call the bass boat from hell. My wife calls it the McCreeper Skeeter. My friend said it's the Skeeter who used to could, and another guy of mine said it's a banana wannabe. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a travesty. There's another video over on my channel called the Bass Boat from Hell. You can go check it out. But basically, somebody painted over this boat with latex house paint, and we're going to try to restore it. So it is a job. So we're going to be tackling that tomorrow. We're going to be pulling it out and getting after it. So thanks so much, guys. God bless you. Guys, God bless you all. Have a great, safe afternoon. We'll talk to you next time.